Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30. Time to wrap it up for today, this Tuesday, November 18th. Okay, so finally we've been chugging around here in this area congestion for quite a while now. We've been able to extend to the upside. Attempts has been made. I'm not able to run it down. Attempts has been made. Right now we had a nice little run down here. I did take one more trade here on this rotation down here to the testing that low. Stop outside that lower rotation, and I had a break-even trade and almost a profitable trade, but then it knocked me out and then went up again, so didn't work out. So that was that, and so another two ticks on that, so I'm down 21 on three trades on the ES so far today. If they can hold support at the 66. 55, 45, 35. So these three support areas, if that can hold going into the close, we may have a shot at staying range by now. I would probably take on, if be below this 55, a bit more aggressive about it. That would be below the volume weighted mean. If they close below that one, I would be on the short side of this. But still, these areas, the 45 and the 35s, are pretty good buying opportunities as well if they're going to stick it out in this range. If they can hold that support area at the 55s, then or if they can hold that support area at 55, then we're going to start off flat out range bound. Not looking for a big rally, I guess, at this point. They're looking more for sideways action. You see if they can hold on to this, especially now if you get late weakness in the this last half hour. You're going to see like a nice reversal all the way back into the lows, which could certainly happen. That would be like, yeah, so if I couldn't take it high, and that's going to actually cream it on the way down. So we will see. But I would look at these three areas of support. Below this area right now, we are holding the 55s barely, but if it starts trading below that, and we'll take out the mean, probably below that 45. This one is at 49. This mean is at 40. So pretty much these support areas need to hold, otherwise we'll be on the short side of this. Overall, it's been a mixed trading day with a lot of volatility back and forth. A big move to the downside this morning, shaking out a bunch of weak positions. A big probe to the downside as well. And I would just look at this as being a pretty good move to the downside. Let me see here. I find my F1 on the ES here. Where are you? Okay, this one didn't make it easier, did it? Oh, there it is. So here's my F1 on the ES, and you can see we're up here reverse retesting that area 66.56. We're not quite reversing because they're coming from the top right now, but we are testing that support area at the 50.55s. And if that comes out and it's close below it, I will be probably on the short side of this going into the overnight. If they can hold this line, we may be staying range bound, but we may not be done with the weakness. I mean, the interesting dynamic I'm seeing though is that every time it probes lower like this, there's a certain amount of buying going on to buy it back up again. So definitely someone is picking up these stocks on cheap prices, and then the overall selling begins again. So who's buying, who's selling? Anyone's guess, but it's I would probably guess that a lot of the buying, a lot of the big institutional selling has been done, and a lot of those guys are looking at buying this back now on the when they start probing the lows, which causes these nice rallies to the upside. So that's the dynamic going into the overnight this time around. News for tomorrow: mortgage apps at 7. We have housing starts permits at 8:30. International trade at 8:30. Atlanta Fed at 10. Oil report at 10:30. 20-year bond auction, Fed minutes coming out at 2. So nothing I think is really earth-shattering coming out in terms of news tomorrow. And we don't know quite if all these news events are going to come up. Looking at NASDAQ, and so I'm switching it around. I'm going to take off gold and oil. I'm not trading them, and I'm just going to keep the F2s up there so we can see what they're doing for reference, but I'm not going to trade them anymore. They're too expensive to trade. Commission wise, and not that interesting. So Nasdaq also big move to the downside, and they are kind of fading a little bit here. They're right here at the mean. If they can't hold the mean going into the close, we may be in a spot where we see a little bit of selling going into the close right now. These three levels, the 700, 690s, which we are taking out, the 650s and the 600s, 615s. need to hold, otherwise we're going to be on the short side of this in a big way. So that's why we're on a NASDAQ. I'm just going to leave an F2 and the regular NASDAQ chart up here going forward for trading. I had 11 round turns on the NASDAQ early on for 143 bucks. And I'm trading it a little bit differently. I'm tightening in my stop. Instead of a 100 tick stop, I'm doing a 50 tick stop, half the size. But I'm also doing a 70 tick stop target. And I'm not going to try to go for any bigger trades. Most of the time I try that, I end up getting shaken out too early. So, you know, sometimes you get a great trade on there and you can sit and ride it for 150 bucks or something. That would be great. No, it doesn't happen too often. The trades which are like 30, 40, 50 ticks in your favor, in this case, going to be up to 70 ticks. 100 ticks would be 50 bucks. That would be a pretty reasonable target. So 70 would be about 30, 35. And I think that's going to be try to get a few of those profitable trades instead of trying to go for bigger swings. So that's kind of the dynamic I'm trying a little bit more scalping out of it. So a little bit more, can be a little bit more aggressive at the edges, but not crazy aggressive, you know. You don't want to, when it's volatile as it was this morning, that was borderline. The trades I took this morning, this was kind of borderline trading because it was a little bit too volatile. When it looks like this, much better. When you're more in congestion areas where you can just fade the high, buy the low, and you have some. But when it runs, either it runs and you get on a good trade like that, or you just get it on the rotations, you just get shaken out of that. So that's the risk you run doing it this way. Well, I'm gonna try it out for a bit and see how that works. So that's NASDAQ up 140 on that one on 11 contracts. Now I took off gold and oil from this. So now in my screen 3 is just going to be the bonds, the bond market. I'm going to leave these up like this. So here in my bond market, going to show up like that, and pretty much giving a good idea what the bond market is doing. And I'm going to try to be trading that one a lot, not as aggressively as the ES and NASDAQ by any means, but still scalping it 4 ticks at a time, see if I can get something going on that one. But this one is a really good market to trade. It's slower, more predictable, but it's also the tick size is like 30 bucks a tick, so it's a little bit more. Anyway, so bond market right now, I would say it's as range bound, hasn't gone anywhere directionally to really worry about. So let me see if I find my bond trade. That's my bond F1 on the bonds. You can see us trading in a range like this. Still same range, back and forth it goes, and nothing else to really worry about. So that's the bond market. Oil and gold. I still have up the F2s for them. So here's gold. So the gold market, gold is pretty much, I closed the F1s, but for gold, the F2 is still to the upside. And we'll see if they can run it up to that 41.30s or not. But as I said, it's too volatile, too sloppy, and too expensive to trade, so I kind of stopped doing it. But I'm going to keep this up for a little bit in case I change my mind. So F2 always gives you a perspective on things. And then, of course, oil. Let me see this oil. Yeah, here's my oil, and F2 on oil, and that gives me a little bit of perspective on that guy. It's good to know. And that's a little bit to the upside today. A little pop to the upside. Not sure exactly what that was about. Could have been something they said since they have the Saudis at the White House. But right now, range-bound trading on oil, range-bound trading on gold going into the overnight. If anything, I would lean long on oil, given that they popped a little bit like this, but it is pretty much still in the range. I haven't taken out the 61s. I'm going to put in an edge here at the 75 to 80s for tomorrow. All right, so that's it. Back to the ES, yeah, bond market. The markets are going to cover going forward. It's going to be micro E or ES, NASDAQ, and the bonds, and that's pretty much it. And they limit that a little bit, make it a little bit shorter, sweeter, and then focus on that trading. So back to the ES, and so on that one, I'm down 21 on 3 trades and 3 contracts, and I'm up 140 on NASDAQ on 11. So net positive for the day. I'll leave it there for now. And I'll see you guys back bright and early in the morning. You guys have a good evening later.